most probably the very act of your checking, you can distract a person from self-sabotage. Guess how many seconds? Less than 7 seconds.
Wow.
It can be like clapping a hand and distracting a person from that thought. You just need a snap, right? Because you go into a very subconscious mode and then, you're on an alert system. That's when you just go and act on impulse. You jump off the building. You get in front of the train.
7 seconds. This is really a very helpful aid.
So we're glad that we're living in a world where people are comfortable with identifying as emotional beings. Even 50 years ago, we wouldn't be very glad, to be told that we are emotional. And even today, in so many cultures, people don't like to be identified as, emotional people.
I think because it's seen as a sign of weakness, is it?
Yes. When you think of the word first aid, it means must have. And it also means a toolkit that can help you until actual help arrives. So you can have accidents, physical accidents anywhere, right? So you are considered a very responsible person if you have a medical first aid kit. So why not mimic such kind of a toolbox when it comes to psychological or mental well-being?
Yeah.
And hence the word emotional first aid. Yes.
That's really a catchy term. Who is the right mental health professional to go to? I'll give you a quick example. When one of my friends, she was feeling unwell. She was very stressed. And we thought that she should seek help. I didn't even know whether she should go to a psychotherapist or just a counselor, or is that something which needs the help of a psychiatrist? So that's something which we need you to decode first.
I want you to look at mental health like a spectrum. From A to Z. Right in the middle, you have letter K, which is where you need a intervention. So when we say A to Z spectrum, what we are meaning is your equilibrium, like the 24 hours, how you're feeling. There is a stability to each one of us, right? Now, right at K, you need an intervention. It starts with a counselor. And the next person, the next mental health professional is a psychologist. After that, you have psychotherapist, and then you have psychiatrist. Now, this is the umbrella view. Now, counselors are excellent listeners. They're training, one whole year, more than 120 hours of their life, they've dedicated into getting trained in the art of how to listen, right? You have psychologists who are experts with all the assessments, the battery of assessments for personality, behavior, and all this. You have the psychotherapists who are trained in behavioral patterns. And then you have the psychiatrists who are medical doctors, who are the only authorized people to give you medication.
That is, they can prescribe.
Prescribe medication, okay? Supposing there's a person who's going through a breakup.
Right.
In a relationship. The experience is that of rejection and failure and loneliness. These are the emotions that are attached to this entire scenario. You need to sit down and ask yourself, what do I want when I'm going and seeking help, right? Discuss this with your primary relationships. They can be your best friend, people who know you from years, or people with whom when you spend time, you feel good. So you have your primary relationships, speak to them. Oh, Sunita, I don't have anyone here. I'm living in the hostel. Then just dial up and speak to the professional. It's okay. But you need to know what you want from this entire engagement. It is not about which specialist I should go. It's not that I go to psychiatrist, I'll get help. Of course, you go to any of these people, you will get help. You should go to them first. But the question should be, what do I want from this consultation? What do I want?
So the onus is on me as a person seeking that help.
Yes.
There are some people who appear so normal, so cheerful or so strong that you don't even know they're going through something so compelling or so painful inside. What are those cues, Sunita? How do you even figure out that your friend is in need of help?
Right. You're asking me this question, Sunita, just tell me simply in 4 steps, how can I figure out if my loved one is, crumbling within? The honest answer is no, Vasanti, you cannot. So what do? You need to start building equipments for yourself to deal with uncertainty. The sooner it begins, the greater it is. Teach your young child to deal with uncertainty. You go with a full out plan and it doesn't work out, what happens next? You're getting into a marriage, you're getting into a relationship. Have you learned how to deal with uncertainty? Have you learned how to deal with your expectation categorically getting broken by others? Now, if you want me to answer this simply, right? How do I take care of my loved ones? Here's what you can do. First, make a list. Make a list of people who matter to you. It's very important. In a culture like India, it would be like, of course, my family and everything. No, this is something very seriously. I take a fee for making people do this, right? Make a list of people who matter to you and commit yourself that you will check on them and be very, very honest, because the truth is, you would never know when your loved one is crumbling, because what really irks a person who's suffering is to be inconvenient to others. People who are mature, the strong ones, like your friend, if I'm very strong and I've been strong for others all my life, the last thing I want to do is be an inconvenience to the very people who matter to me. Right. So what I would do is, okay, so if the specialist is going to say, if their dressing has changed, the physical appearance is deteriorating, then that's a cue. They will work on it. They will ensure that, they're coming all trim and clean and everything. And
so as to not let you know that they are going through this within.
Yes, right? You don't need to announce to your loved ones that you're there for them. This is my list of people, who have made me, and I can't think of my life without them. Make the list and commit to yourself that I will frequently, and don't write words like frequently when you're committing. How frequent? I will check on them weekly once. Be honest. Be shamelessly honest and say weekly once is when I can check on them, but I will check. Oh, they will tease, they will be bogged down. No, they would be very grateful.
Be realistic, but stick to that.
Yes. Because most probably the very act of your checking, you can distract a person from self-sabotage. Guess how many seconds? Less than 7 seconds.
Wow.
It can be like clapping a hand and distracting a person from that thought. You just need a snap. Right? Because you go into a very subconscious mode and then, you're on an alert system. That's when you just go and act on impulse. You jump off the building. You get in front of the train.
7 seconds. This is really a very helpful aid.
Yeah.
And when you add elements like, let's say, being with nature or travel or spirituality.
When you go to nature, the mind operates better. The mind is fantastic when it gets this ability to personify anything, right? And something which is not demanding in return. We don't feel comfortable asking a loved one as much because, there's a give and take.
Expectations.
So when you travel, this is what happens to you. You feel like you're belonging to something that is larger than you, a culture that is different from you. All these are distractions from human anthill. The civilization that we have created with all this technology around. So taking a break with nature is a good A to K self-care remedy. Vasanti, you are someone who has traveled and have interacted with so many people. And from what I know, you also take a lot of nuggets from spirituality. So what is your self-care regime and how much has it helped you as a person?
The moment you ask me this, there is, of course, 100 images, that come to my head. And I can say that in the toughest phases of my life, where I thought that I need to keep my mind together, it's travel that's been such an ally. It's, I always keep telling people who follow my journeys, okay, go where life takes. But it's true that going with the flow has helped me surrender to life's larger plans. For instance, I'm going to a place, and rural India is my favorite subject. So when I do that, I just see people who have so much of resilience, despite going through so much that is way beyond probably what I would have been going through at that moment.
Right.
Then you just you're in awe of that power. And then there's this old song in Hindi which says, Duniya mein kitna gam hai, mera gam kitna kam hai. Which is to say that, people go through shit, as they say, and then they get up and move on. And I think even with spirituality, that thread for me that's always worked is that of surrender to something that's larger than you. And you just see yourself not as this person who has control over every aspect of one's life or what's happening to you, but how you are responding to each of this. And I think in India we are lucky, aren't we, to have so many streams
Absolutely.
of access to so much of spirituality. That is something. But I really want to therefore wrap this show by asking you, on behalf of anybody who's listening in to us or watching us, give us that tip or probably that mental workout that helps us in our day-to-day regimen.
I want you to understand that mental health begins with understanding self-talk. It's very, very important. It starts there, it ends there. What matters in your mind is how you are instructing it, how you are speaking to yourself in the deepest recesses of your own existence. And that's why affirmations are very important for you to address the A to K. So I want you to imagine, with your eyes closed, that you're standing in front of a beautiful antique mirror.
Right.
And gently place both your palms on your heart. Feel the power of your heart. And you could gently repeat after me. I take care of myself.
I take care of myself.
Until everything takes care of itself.
Until everything takes care of itself.
I take care of myself.
I take care of myself.
Until everything takes care of itself.
Until everything takes care of itself.
Feel the power of your heart and gently open your eyes.
Felt good.
It does.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
This is a segment, I must tell those who are watching us, we call it Headstrong.
Oh yes.
Because I think ultimately if your head and heart is in a position of strength, you can deal with anything.
Oh yes.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Emotional First Aid Show. If you like what you heard, do subscribe and write in with your comments and suggestions. Thanks again for watching.